enthusiasm that he has towards renewables, that's commendable. And thank you first of all for organizing this day today. Today I got a WhatsApp photo in 2019 when my announcement as a lateral entrant was announced. Many of you were there in Pune to also felicitate Praveen send a message, and he said, and today again on 18th of September, it's emotional, but I think whatever you have shown brings me back those 5 years. But it was really, what I can say is enjoyable 5 years of journey in MNRE. Obviously, colleagues, two of the colleagues are here. Should I say former colleagues? But yes, 5 years were brilliant. First of all, government system taking and somebody who is from outside their system or DNA coming into the ministry is always a challenge. But I never felt that ministry being a small cohesive ministry, there was a lot of acceptance was probably not an issue, but yes, the work allotted in the start was not related to the kind of domain experience I had. But leaving that apart, it also allowed me to work in bioenergy and get the first bioenergy policy as well. So National Bioenergy Program was also launched in that period. What all you have said, obviously, it's not possible without any individual cannot do it. You know, that's how it is. Whatever we could do little in terms of the biggest achievement, as I can say, is the committee's report, according to me. Obviously, policies and all are as an outcome, but what we could all through that report which was presented to the Honorable Minister, what should be really done to bring wind into those multi-gigawatt type of capacities. That probably made people aware of what really is required. I think it was a collective effort from turbine manufacturers. 𝐐𝐭𝐫𝐨𝐧𝐠 himself was really instrumental in pushing that. You guys, all of you gave a substantial amount of feedback. We took the help of CW to write those reports, and obviously 2 of my colleagues were there to get it moderated, reviewed, and that was the first instance. Obviously, when we started WIN, subsequently there were lot of incremental steps that we could take. Acceptability of those, and as everybody knows, nothing happens unless you have the acceptability with the secretaries and the minister as well. What best thing was done is we were able to express not only verbal but in writing about what is really required by the industry. That made few of the things possible. Offshore wind was obviously 2015 onwards, a lot of efforts made by Praveen himself being a part since then. His knowledge absolutely in the sector is very, very, and I should really command his knowledge on the subject in terms of how a policy should be driven, and then both these guys really made an instrumental role. From a feedback perspective, my role was only to really see what we can do in the sense some of the issues obviously I was aware in terms of what goes, but mostly that was state related. I was involved in a lot of state related activities, but here it was mostly the CTU, ISTS related activities. So that was obviously based on your feedback and what was possible. Offshore wind will, I'm sure with all your support, many of you don't believe that offshore will immediately take off, but I think we need to push that sector as well. That is how I think, because at some point of time offshore will have to be a main part of Indian wind. Since it is WIPPA focusing on wind as such, yesterday in the RE Invest, we were talking to the German side in a bilateral discussions. But it was bilateral, but there was German delegation with a lot of industry and association From our side, I think we missed all of you there, but the point that was made is that we can bring in new machines, we can bring the latest state-of-art turbine technologies. We still, those who are missing in Indian wind can come there, provided there is a firm commitment of 10 gigawatt per year. So that was said after a span of 2 years, when we had already said that every year we'll do a 10 gigawatt of wind, and I'm sure, I think last year we increased the kind of supply bids of more than 10 gigawatt. So wind is seen as the mainstream, probably a part of the, not the mainstream, but an important stream technology resource in the overall planning. As you know, Ministry of Power plays an important role in all these driving these decisions. CA, as we keep on discussing, has their own role. A lot of feedback also comes from the grid controller, who talks about various issues. One point is very clear: until we have one single voice from the stakeholders, it will be difficult going forward. So we need to have one strong voice, that I feel. We need to be very strong and technically very savvy. Unless we are technically, and that's why when we are looking at DSM, you remember I was telling, get a very third-party authenticated reporting. We got it from DNV, I understand. So such things we are going to help. Otherwise, unless we are very technically savvy and firm on what we want, but if we are able to do this, I'm sure the ministry also accepts all the recommendations, and those recommendations are brought into reality, brought into practice. There are some delays. The process is very difficult, as I have learned myself, because it has to go through several internal processes, external processes, and then there are several ups and downs within the process. So if you are lucky, it can happen in one stroke, but if most of the time there will be iterations on the expectations and the kind of proposals that one has to go in the ladder. So I know that I could see, and that is how writing notes is also an art, which Dr. Rahul and Dr. Prabir, we can learn from them how to really write proposals, because unless you write it correctly and adequately to make a decision. So that also is an important point from the ministry perspective. 5 years were brilliant. We could, I think I was really expecting last year, when we were looking at, when the first meeting happened and we said we will do around 5 gigawatt. So I personally was very confident that if we do that 5 gigawatt, then all that negative things about wind will go. We couldn't do, I think we did 3.3 gigawatts, but nevertheless we crossed 3 gigawatts, and at least this year we should touch that. I know things on ground, substations, those substations which were expected now. Yesterday I got to know that they have been commissioned in Tamil Nadu, and even I think in Gadag and all. So things have been taking time. There has been support from IPP, and from a manufacturing perspective, obviously players have come down in terms of numbers, but there are several good players, good key players who understand will be able to support the entire demand that is required in the immediate future, as and when it actually increases. Probably new players also can, or those who have really shut down their businesses from an Indian soil perspective, they can come back. So I do believe we'll have to keep faith in the ministry's perspective about how they're doing. From solar perspective, I think the only point which I see was not so good on the flip-flop that happened on some of the decisions related to the ALLM and others. Otherwise, I think the industry was going for very well. Obviously, there the transmission related issues are there, but both these sectors will continue to play a role. The new secretary will join, has already joined. He has taken a brief from all of us on what is really desired. Whatever 3-4 hours discussion that happened, I mostly was discussing wind. I would really suggest that he is taken to the wind erection sites and shown the magnificent work, the gigantic work that we do to ensure that it's not very easy and it takes its own time. So I think seeing is believing. When we went into one of the sites in Tamil Nadu when Mr. Balla was there, Secretary Sir was there, I think then you realize what kind of work it is. So therefore every secretary should be really taken to not only wind sites but also to the production sites so that they get a feel of what is going on. So but all those quotes and photographs are lovely. I recollect from the early days of COVID pandemic, and then when I got into wind, it was the collective effort. Obviously, my only role was to see that we have unified voice and we jot down priorities, because there is plenty of things to do in the basket, but we'll have to pick those few things which make a larger impact. And that is what my role was, and we collectively used to sit. So many things got achieved. Some of the noticeable which you mentioned, I do believe that we were instrumental. In fact, I personally, that role was not allocated to me. Whether it's green open access rules or whether it's the UREP, Unified Renewable Energy, that all started in January of 2020 or 2021, when we started interacting, and then I produced a concept note, and out of those 5 priorities, 2 were chosen to work on, and those are 2, which is green open energy open access rules and unified renewable energy tariff, and they have seen huge changeover in the so many things have got succeeded. Whether it's repowering policy, I think states are coming up with that. Some decisions happened afterwards in terms of the guideline changes. I'm sure defense issues also will be addressed soon. They are being taken up at the highest priority. So that was all about the activities. Thank all of you for being a part of this wonderful industry and a wonderful team who interacts with MNRE day in, day out. That is really required, and that will continue to take place. I think fragmentation of minds, obviously yes, there can be differences of opinion, but when you possess it, it should be one voice and a particular set of agenda, whether it's a manufacturer or whether it's a developer. I think that to a certain extent we were able to streamline. So when we were there, and today when morning I took a flight and came back, so it was almost, most of the officers of MNRE were there in RE Investo. When yesterday itself all the discussions happened. After spending 5 years, so as I made a lateral entry, I have to, there has to be a lateral exit. So that exit, I would, as Giri Sahab has openly told my age now, there are more active years for me to contribute to the sector, and I will be absolutely in this, love to be a part of this sector. We will firm up some certain decisions in the next few weeks, and then be an active part probably amongst you to again come back to MNRE telling this has to be done. So we will be a part of that in some form. And I'm sure Prabhu will listen to us and and take these things forward. Obviously, I loved working with all these guys. Some of them are extremely good in terms of their approaches. And I think what is difficult in government mindset is how open one can be. That particular, once the person understands that the purpose of his being there is what, then I think he can become open and then accept a lot of things that we as industry suggest. So some understand it quickly, some take time, but as joint secretary or anybody, as leaders in the ministry, our role is that we are able to do things. And thank you for all of you once again for taking this time out, making such wonderful presentations and showing really, it's emotional sometimes that, but it was lovely. Whether it's events, whether it's seminars, or whether it's even last year, I think we were across 4 or 5 cities. I happened to be in Pune to celebrate the global wind day as well. It is necessary that we reach out to every state, whether the state leadership comes or not, we have to be there. And there are some states which are very vocal in terms of about, for example, Tamil Nadu. Obviously, they're vocal, they may do a little less, but then that is how we'll have to keep persevering that. NIWE, I think we need to strengthen, further strengthen NIWE's institutional capabilities and support. I believe it has very strong ability to support all of us in going forward. So NIWE has to be strengthened. I told this to the OSD sir also that all these organizations are very important for the growth of the industry. As turbines increase, I do see that, and I thought I should spend a minute on that. I see there are certain incidences that keep on happening across, which yesterday Meda DG was telling what are the safety rules and guidelines that one should follow in terms of elections. So that is going to surface very shortly. So we'll have to be very cautious. Obviously, the speed at which we work and the cost at which we get to execute those are very challenging when we say safety, but we'll have to ensure as an industry that safety is taken, is given the due importance while elections are taking place. So I don't want to go more, I just thought of coming out and expressing. First of all, again, 5 years are now, whatever has been done, obviously we'll have to take forwards. There will be some new leader there, and hopefully he steps into the right kind of framework and works with the industry to take the industry forward, take the sector forward. Rest all as friends. Please don't call me sir. That's fast. I know it comes as a language, as a part of our vocabulary, but it's as one amongst you. And I would like to be there as one amongst you and take care of whatever the problems are. So thank you, and it's wonderful once again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.